Welcome to scenic Lime Rock Park, nestled in the Berkshire foothills of northwestern Connecticut. Since 1956, sports car fans have filled these hillsides and seen great racing action from great racing drivers. Sterling Moss, Derek Bell, they've all raced here. But now, every fall, things are a little different. Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Joy. This is my home racetrack, too. And every fall, they're invaded by these ground pounders, the cars of NASCAR North. So welcome, as Speed Vision presents the Dodge Dealers NASCAR 200, presented by Burnham Boilers, season finale of the Busch Grand National North Series.
And a good afternoon to you. Alan Bestwick here, along with Michael Waltrip for the call of today's race. Something a little different for the Busch North Series today, Mike, a road course.
Yeah, but when we visit Watkins Glen, Alan, these guys are there, and, man, they know how to do it on a road course. So this isn't foreign to them. It's just a little bit different, like you said.
Strategy for today's race could play a big role in determining the winner. Here's Mike Joy.
The main strategy is get in and get out. The race is 82 laps. These cars can go 60 laps, 90 miles under green on one tank of fuel. But this race won't be all under the green flag. Historically, it's had lots of cautions, so expect pit stops beginning lap 8 or 10. That should provide just enough fuel to go the distance. But there's a catch. This race can't end under caution, so if there's a late yellow, some teams may be very close on fuel as they run this race out green-white checker. There's another wrinkle. There's only 23 pit stalls at this track, so the teams are doubled up and will have to work together and pit on alternate laps using the same pit stall. So a lot of different strategies at work here, but I expect all the front runners have started on light tanks and will be in early.
The bottom line on this race the last couple of years is pitting early and then staying on the track later in the event has been the winning strategy. So let's talk about adapting these Busch North cars, normally used to going left on an oval, to a right-hand road course.
Well, these are big, heavy cars, and they're the same cars these drivers race on the short ovals and at New Hampshire International. Suspensions and fueling apparatus have been switched over right side for left to accommodate Lime Rock's 6 right turns and only 1 left-hander. But they're big, heavy cars for the road course. In our low-slung sports racers, we're not even thinking about the brake pedal until the 2 marker going into turn 1, Big Bend. These drivers are letting off way back at the 6 marker and hard on the brakes at 4. But you'll see them put on an exciting, entertaining, and occasionally off-course show.
And we've seen a lot of wildness in the races run here at Lime Rock. Big difference for these cars versus the Winston Cup cars on a road course. They don't run radial tires here in this series.
No, they're not running radials, and that's a question best put to Andy Santerre, who's won on the NASCAR Busch Series on radials and now returns to his Busch North roots and back to bias ply tires. What's the biggest difference?
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, these bias ply tires, you can really throw the car around a lot more. They're a little slicker, they slide around more, but at least they're still in control. So you'll see a lot of slipping and sliding, and a lot of guys sideways, but you can easily bring it out of it with these bias plies.
No tire changes under caution. Will these tires go the distance?
All these tires, they throw sparks around the racetrack. They're so hard. So we don't have no problems that way. They're a great tire. You know, it's a pretty good series, and it's a good spec tire. It saves guys a lot of money, and they're a lot of fun to run on.
So they'll be slipping and sliding on bias plies. Michael, you're going to love this.
It should be a lot of fun. The drivers will have a lot to do with how you get around the track, obviously. You slip and you slide, it puts it back in the driver's hands. Mike, what's the key to getting around this place? What's the fast place of the track?
One key to a fast lap at Lime Rock is the downhill turn that leads onto the front straightaway. Right as the road bottoms, the suspension compresses, and that's the turn-in point. So, Brian Wall, new track record holder and defending champion of this race, what's the key to this part of the course?
My 2 keys are speed and momentum. You can gain a ton of ground right here, and it starts right at the top of the hill. We come in as fast as possible here, and you just breathe off the throttle for a brief second and just jab the brake to get the nose set. You want to do a little bit of what they call the later apex here, so you have plenty of runoff room, and just keep all that momentum down into the straightaway, and I'll tell you, you can gain a ton by the end of the straight, maybe a second or 2.
So if it's momentum that's on Brian Wall's mind, what about the outside pole sitter? This is Dale Quarterly strapped aboard his machine. What does he think is the important element to getting around Lime Rock?
Lime Rock is 6 right turns and only 1 left. The left-hander follows Big Bend at the end of the front straightaway. And Dale Quarterly, who's qualified second for this race, says that this corner is a key to a fast lap here. Why?
This certainly is a key to a fast lap. This turn is the turn that you really need to slow down and keep the car fairly level. If you race this turn, when you get to turn 4, the car gets all upset and you lose the whole back straightaway, which is no name straight. And the second you lose that back straightaway, you start trying to rush yourself. Then you mess up the uphill, you mess up the downhill. It just, if you can carry speed through here, it'll carry you around the whole race to the racetrack to the coming onto the front straightaway.
There's Brad Leighton, locked up the series championship in the last race a couple of weeks ago. He knows what it takes to be fast around here, too. Sometimes it's slowing down.
This is the driver's view entering the uphill turn. Just after the apex, the road rises sharply, giving the feeling of exiting the corner on a banked track. And Brad Leighton, who's now clinched the 2000 Busch North Championship, second year in a row, can tell us why this is a critical corner.
It's very critical, Mike. This corner is tough for me. You have to get in the corner really hard to keep your speed up, apply hard brake, and make your right-hand turn, and make sure you get the right corner. Speed in through there and carry the speed up over. If you don't carry the speed up over, it kills you getting down off the backside, and you certainly will slow your lap speed up. And this is a tough one for me and a tough one for everybody, but I look forward to the task.
All right, so we've heard from some of the top contenders for today's race about various parts of the course. Let's get a tour around it now with Brian Wall.
Okay, right here we're approaching the downhill, which is one of the fastest areas on the track. A sharp, quick jab on the brake and then right back on the gas pedal, carrying all the speed out into the straightaway. And this is a great place to gain on everyone. And here's where all your passing is getting done, right here, coming into Big Bend, down to third and sometimes even second gear. Right down on the curve there. This is a flat turn, very difficult to get hooked up for, but very important as well to carry some speed through the S's here into this left-hander. And the left-hander is important to get set up for the no-name straight, which is coming up past this right-hand turn right here, down to the curve, right back on the gas. We're carrying third gear through here now. And this is a gradual incline right up into here, a hard right-hand turn. Going up the hill, and the car actually gets light right there. We actually have to lift off the gas pedal to keep the car from spinning out because the back wheels come right off the ground. We're coming back down into the straightaway now. This is the downhill area. Back full on the gas here, right out to the curb, and all the way down the straightaway. Probably about 150. And then hard on the brakes here. We go down third, sometimes second, qualifying. And right back down on the curb. This is that flat corner they call Big Bend. Very difficult. A lot of spins through here. And then we come up on the left-hander again here. And this you can really come set up for any way you want. You just need to get to this part of the track right here and start the momentum. So however you can get through the left-hander, they call it a throwaway turn. Coming down no-name straightaway here. Again, hard on the brakes for this uphill, but very quick and back on the throttle right at the curb. And lifting off the gas briefly on that uphill incline, and then down into this right-hander, which is very quick as well. And then we get right back down to the downhill. And that's a lap at Lime Rock Park.
Wow. Did you see the way he's steering that car? Those tires are hard. He couldn't hardly get a hold of the road at all.
Firing up the engines and getting the field ready to go in the Dodge Dealers 200. As much as he was slipping and sliding around, this could be wild.
I'll say it would be. You heard him say 150 miles per hour on one part of this racetrack, down to just a very much a crawl off a couple of the corners. I can't wait to see what's going to happen over the next couple hours, Alan.
Brian Wall and Dale Quarterly lead the field off on their pace laps. We'll come back for the green flag in the NASCAR Busch North Series season finale. Getting set for the Dodge Dealers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series on the 1.5 Lime Rock Park road course in the hills of northwestern Connecticut. Glad that you've joined us. Beautiful setting for an autumn afternoon of NASCAR racing. And let's take a look at the starting lineup. Brian Wall, defending winner of the race, is on pole with Dale Quarterly, the former motorcycle racer, alongside.
Brian set on the pole by 2.5 tenths. Quite a gap there back to the second place guy. Brad Leighton and Matt Kobyluck round out row 2.
Leighton locking up the series championship already before this race. There's Dennis Demers and Andy Santerre, former weekly threat to win in the Busch North Series, moved south, now back to try and get another one on his home turf. Tracy Gordon's been one of the hottest drivers on tour this season. He'll start in the 9th position. Mike Olson finished runner-up here 1 year ago. He'll round out the top 10 starters.
You see Teddy Christopher back there in the 14th spot. He's driven a car for me in the Busch South Series and trying his luck here on the road course at Lime Rock.
Jerry Markey, the NASCAR Federal-Light Modified Series champion for 2000. In the Busch North race today, an 18th starting position. There's former series champion Jamie Obey back in the 20th spot.
He's guys are warming up their tires. You see as we look down the field here, Dave Dion in 23rd spot there in the 29 car. He's been doing this deal for a long time and is always a threat to win a race.
Joe Pezza, former road racer in the IMSA series back years ago, back in the Busch North Series here to take a shot. There's David Darling out of Massachusetts. And down to Mike Rowe out of Maine, looking to see what he can do here on a road course back in 33rd starting position.
We took 32 cars by their times, and the last 4 are provisional starters. Barney McCray rounds out this 36-car field, Alan.
Field summary, 4 Fords, 3 Pontiacs, and 29 Chevrolets will be in the race for today. $116,000 would be the prize money up for grabs. And 7 drivers failing to qualify for this event on the 2000 season.
There's the in-car look from Brian Wall's car. We've had this ride before. He seems to know what he's doing. He's put it on the pole right up front.
Brad Leighton, series champion, starting in 3rd position. And we go back to Andy Santerre's mount as he gets set to go.
The last time these cars were on a road course, Andy won up at Watkins Glen, New York. So look for some good shots out of his car. And here's Tracy Gordon. Qualified well up toward the front of the field as well.
Tracy, a 5-time winner in the Busch North Series already in 2000. Pace car set to head for pit road. We have 82 laps ahead around this 1.5 Lime Rock Park course. It's the season finale for the NASCAR Busch Series, and the Dodge Dealers 200 begins now. Nose is out in front of Brian Wall in turn 1.
Wow, it's always amazing to me. They all shoot down into that first corner and funnel in there and make it happen somehow. But Quarterly made a good move. Got the lead from Wall.
Look at him slipping and sliding all over the place.
It's unbelievable the job these guys have got. They got to do this for 80-some laps, Alan. I mean, they're going to be worn out by the time this race is over.
A lot of 3rd gear on this course. They hardly ever get out of 3rd gear, yet they're flying.
They are.
I mean, some of the onboard cameras around here, the way the scenery moves by, it kind of looks like they're going slow, but look how fast and how much speed these guys are carrying with all that slipping and sliding and steering wheel maneuvering going on.
It would be like running 100 miles an hour in your family car during a snowstorm. I mean, these guys are flat out of control, but yet making it work. You can see Brian Wall looking to the inside as he grabs 3rd gear. That's the only 4th gear section of this race course. See him work that wheel. Listen to that throttle. I think that's a great shot by the camera guys, man.
And that's one of the things drivers like about this racing here and racing on this hard tire. Like you were saying before, Mike, it is in the driver's hand. What he does with the gas pedal and the steering wheel determines his success or failure in a lap here.
Yeah, because I don't care what you try to tell your crew, Alan. You can't fix what he's fighting there. When the tires are hard like they are, in order to, it's just a conservative tire. They don't want them to wear out. They don't want these guys making pit stops, spending a lot of money. So the tires are really hard, and they're very difficult to get hooked to the ground.
Dale Quarterly, known for his expertise on the road courses, leading Brian Wall. As they come around to complete lap number 2, Wall going to poke out from behind and make another bid for the lead under braking heading into turn 1.
Can he get there? I believe he is. No, bailed out. Like I said, you just can't explain to your crew chief how to fix what these guys are fighting with. It's called car control. It's what you do with your right foot and your hands. Just applying enough throttle down where you can keep the car under control with your hands.
Brian Wall has an awful lot of experience here at this racetrack as we look back in on Tracy Gordon.
He's got to the inside of someone. I couldn't see who that was.
And now he's on the outside.
That's Mike Olson.
Yeah.
The Little Trees car.
Olson slides by and grabs a spot. And Bobby Dragon goes by. Tracy Gordon's got some problems.
Yeah, he didn't sound like he was up to speed as he exited that corner, but you think maybe it's hung in gear? He hasn't seen him shift, but it sounded pretty good right there. I don't know. We'll have to check down the pits and see if Mike can figure out what's wrong with Tracy's car.
Brian Wall setting the wheel off there at the exit of the final corner, but still not able to get by Dale Quarterly for the lead. Started to say Brian's got a lot of laps here. His dad, John, is in the race here. We'll catch a look at him driving the number 73 car in a little while, but right now Wall is running 2nd to Dale Quarterly in the opening laps for the Dodge Dealers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series. Back in at Lime Rock Park in the Dodge Dealers 200 season finale for the NASCAR Busch North Series. Dale Quarterly is the leader. Brian Wall has been pressuring him from the start, but not able to reclaim the number 1 position from him. Wall qualified on the pole. Quarterly on the outside. Quarterly got the jump into the first turn, and they've run this way ever since.
Yeah, and on every lap, Brian Wall has looked to the inside of Quarterly as they shot down the front straightaway, but couldn't quite get there. Dale's doing a good job holding them off. Look at the beautiful setting we're racing through here. Hills, Connecticut are just beautiful this time of year.
Now, the 3rd and 4th place cars, that's Brad Leighton in 3rd and Matt Kobyluck in 4th. Continuing to race for that position, Leighton the series champion in the 55, and Kobyluck the youngster in the 40.
Oh, this will be good. Talking about all the input the drivers are having to apply to make this work. Great shot from Leighton's car there. You see him grab 4th gear.
Uh-oh. Off
That's
course.
Walter Riley.
Trouble there. That's coming up the hill toward the final corners. Does not appear that Riley is under power.
The guaranteed overnight delivery Chevy doesn't have any power. Wonder if we'll go caution.
Watching the corner workers there to see if we see any double yellow flags. So far, nothing going. Look at Wall smoking the tires there.
He's after him. Like to get the lead away from Quarterly. I believe he can go on. You can see where Riley's car. Oh, he got it fired up. That thing wasn't running, and now it is. You think it was an ignition problem, possibly?
Whatever it is, he's gotten it going, so we'll stay under the green. But here come the leaders up to him as he moves away from this spot where he came to rest a minute ago. Front 4 tightened up just a little bit. Leighton and Kobyluck have closed in on Quarterly and Wall. Dropping off the edge of that hill has just got to feel like you're driving off the edge of a cliff.
I mean, I'm just enjoying watching these guys get around the racetrack so much. This is when you're a race car driver, you want to drive tracks that are fun. And man, this just looks fun. These guys are uphill, downhill, shifting gears and sliding around.
Watching Kobyluck there in the 40, Mike, he's kind of like yourself. He's a big boy, 6'5", 230 pounds, except on an oval track where all that weight is on the left side of the car. Here, it's on the wrong side of the car because you're making mostly right turns. How does that affect things for you when you go to a road course?
Well, a lot of times you set the car up differently anyway. You put the weight percentages right down the middle of the car. And generally, with a big driver, you include him in the weight percentages, so it really has no effect on the way the car's set up at all. Check out Brad here. Wow.
Hanging on to 3rd spot. With Kobyluck right behind him in the top 2. Wall every lap down this front stretch.
Maybe he's just thinking that Quarterly eventually get tired of jacking with him and let him on by, but Dale's leading the race. But, you know, anytime you see 4 cars bunched together like this, you almost think maybe the first guy isn't quite as fast as the other 3, that he's holding them up. I know one guy that hopes that a caution's getting ready to come out, and that's Walter Riley. He's still on the lead lap, even though his car quit, but only 10, 15 car lengths away from going a lap down. If you get a lap down on a road course, it pretty much ends your day.
Let's get out of the pits and Mike Joy.
Dale Quarterly's team had a long morning. They found a problem in the valve train and tore everything under the valve cover off and freshened that part of the motor today. So they're going to depend on this guy for a little bit of science, a little magic, and a lot of racing luck.
Well, luck's an important element of winning any race. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yeah, who was that guy?
Uh-oh, David Darling spinning around.
Kept the engine running.
Stop it, David. Stop it. Oh, he could get hung up down there.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
And he is. David Darling, Seekonk, Massachusetts driver, has spun out and appears to be hung in the grass. And we go back to the leaders as Brian Wall still hunts Dale Quarterly.
Brad Leighton is right in the middle of that battle as well. And you can see Walter Riley still holding his own out there in front of him.
He's still hanging in there. Here's Andy Santerre working on a spot.
Trying to get around Bill Penfold.
Actually, I believe Penfold just went by Santerre to pick up 6th spot. They give Penfold 6th, and Andy Santerre loses a position to 7th. And when you saw David Darling spin there a minute ago, if you're not familiar with road racing, you can't have a caution just in one section of the course and have the overall track remain under the green. So that's why we haven't seen the pace car or any yellow flags at this point, because where Darling spun off, that section of the course went under caution for a moment, but then we went right back at it under the green flag. like Kobyluck starting to pull the Brian Wall move of peeking out to the inside. Is he going to make a bid here? Hard on the brakes.
Whoa.
Yellow flag.
Yellow.
Caution is out. And it is for David Darling's car that is stuck. They've decided they need to retrieve him from there, and they can't do it under a sectional caution flag. So we'll go under the yellow for the first time in this Dodge Dealers 200.
Well, Walter pulled it off, stayed out in front of the leaders.
Gets to come all the way back around.
Makes himself a part of this event again. There's so many cars that will finish this race on the lead lap, Alan. If you go a lap down, man, you can't get a good finish. So he was real fortunate there to get that thing cranked up when he did.
Pace car tried to catch up to the leader. And see if he could get out in front of the field. Dale Quarterly in front at the first yellow of the Dodge Dealers 200. We'll come back with more of the NASCAR Busch North Series on Speed Vision. Back at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, getting set to go back under the green flag in the Dodge Dealers 200. David Darling's car has been towed away from where it got stuck in the mud and the grass off the course. And the lead cars all have stayed on track under this caution flag. Pace cars off, and we're set to go back racing. It's Dale Quarterly leading. Brian Wall is second. Brad Leighton is third. Matt Kobyluck is fourth. And we're back up to speed.
Quarterly got off to a good start as we look at the Speed Vision field summary there. You can see Quarterly leading the race. Brian Wall, Leighton, Kobyluck. Those guys have been the four cars that have broken away from most of the rest of the field all day long. There's Brian Wall's dad, Jerry. John. We'll call him Jerry Wall. That should be my neighbor at home. So John Wall's running 20th. There's some of the guys. You see Walter Raleigh, 33rd position, but he can still race up through this field now that he didn't lose a lap.
Quarterly's gotten a little bit of a lead on Wall on this restart.
Yeah, he got it right on the start, too, Alan. He was able to jump off the last turn there and beat these guys pretty bad down the front straightaway.
Coming into this race, the big story championship-wise, as this is the season's final race, was the battle for second in the Busch North Series championship. Now, Brad Leighton already locked up the lead, and regardless of what happened here today, he's going to hold the champion's trophy. But Tracy Gordon is locked in a tight fight with Dale Shaw for second spot in the final standings. Oh, trouble there.
Ooh, Mike Bruno in the Fisher Snowplows car has gotten off the track, but he kept it running.
Back to what we were talking about second in points there a minute ago. There are just 5 points between Tracy Gordon and Dale Shaw coming into this final race of the season.
Yeah, Alan, and earlier we had an in-car from Tracy Gordon. He was losing spots and had some sort of trouble, so we'll have to check and see if he's got that straightened out, because that position could be up for grabs all day long if he's able to keep his car sanitary. And it looks like right now it's running okay.
See that Brian Wall is closed back in on Dale Quarterly. Somebody put a wheel off up the top of the hill there, saw a big cloud of dust.
Now, Alan, it takes such a long time to get around this racetrack. I would not be surprised to see some of our leaders peel off, even 14, 15 laps into the race, and get them some gas and get that over with. That way, if the caution flag falls, they'll cycle back to the front of the field. So if you see some of these guys dive in the pit, it's probably part of their plan.
It's about 54, 55 seconds to get around this track.
And if you're leading the race, obviously, you can stop on pit road. They said earlier it's a short pit road. There's only 23 pits. So you can get in, get your gas, and get out, and only lose probably 30 seconds of that 55 that we're talking about. So I look for some of these leaders to hit pit road pretty quick, because you can't change tires under caution anyway, so get it done under the green.
Here's Brian Wall. Just got married before coming to the race here this weekend.
Yes, he did. Be a nice honeymoon, wouldn't it?
Got a good run off that corner.
Yeah, he's going to make that move.
Here he comes up to the inside of Dale Quarterly. This would be a bid for the lead.
Wow.
Into turn one.
Quarterly shot her on down in there, didn't he?
He did.
Man, I thought Brian had that pass made. He made such a good run at Quarterly off that final turn.
Looked like a sprint car race. They're just slipping and sliding. Oop, little bumper there.
Sounds like a sprint car race, too. Dale is just occupying the part of the road that Brian really wants to be in.
Off the no-name straight.
Why haven't they named that straight? That really bothered me.
Look at this. Boy, Wall's eaten up Dale Quarterly. That's not a good place to try a pass right there. This is where he got the good run last lap by, right off of this corner. Looks like Quarterly got away better this time. off there on driver's right. See Brad Leighton protecting the inside entry into turn 1 on Matt Kobyluck.
Man, these four guys are pretty much saying, okay, we're going to race off and race away from all these guys and settle it amongst ourselves.
Trying to separate themselves. They have been the show so far, but it is neat.
It is fun to watch, especially this shot.
It's pretty obvious at this point that Leighton, that Wall is faster than Quarterly. Is he going to get him this time? That's a tricky spot.
Man.
Tight corners.
Quarterly went on down in there with him. I thought Brian had made the pass, but
he's got him.
Finally completes it.
Brian Wall goes into the lead after pressuring Dale Quarterly right from the start. He finally gets by.
And you know, Brian will be able to drive that car a lot smoother now that he doesn't have to mess with Quarterly. He'll be able to keep things straighter and probably, and as you can see here, open up a lead.
Here's Brad Leighton going to stuff his car up to the inside of Quarterly.
Yeah, went all the way to second gear. We've been seeing Brian make that corner in third some. Leighton got all the way to second gear. Here comes Kobyluck. He's going to make the move, too. He's on the wrong side of the road there, though, isn't he?
That's tough. This is not a very wide racetrack to try and run these big cars sliding all over the place like that side by side.
No, it's not, but they're certainly trying to use every bit of it.
That was a pretty brave move on Brian Wall's part to attempt that pass at the part of the racetrack he did. Probably even braver on Quarterly's part to try and run in there with him side by side.
That's exactly right. But Brian was getting desperate. He had been cut off 3 or 4 times, and he said that he was getting to the point in the race there where he said, okay, I've shown this guy my nose enough. I'm going to make the move. And what's happening here? Is that Quarterly coming to the pit?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Lost the lead. That's great strategy. He lost the lead. He said, let's go ahead and get our pit stop done and get that out of the way. They can make it to the end from here.
Let's go to Mike.
Dale Quarterly, after dropping to 4th spot, losing the lead, decides then to make his pit stop. Gas and go. Here's Martin Truex Jr. in just behind him. The youngster that wowed him up at New Hampshire. Going to clean the grill. A lot of rubber debris out there. Make sure that tank is fully topped off. A check of the left rear tire pressure, and Martin's away.
They had a little bit of trouble getting the fuel connected in there. It cost him some extra time on pit road. Brian Wall is the second leader of the Dodge Dealers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. Park in northwestern Connecticut. Brian Wall is the leader of the Dodge Dealers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series. You see the field summary. 20th spot, Dale Quarterly. First of the leaders to make a move to pit road. He gave up the lead to Brian Wall at lap 18, and at lap 19 came on to pit road for fuel. It's been the winning strategy here the last couple of years. Stop early, stay out when everybody else comes in.
Yeah, and especially with the rules here, it's kind of accentuated with the fact you can't put tires on under caution, so no one's going to get a big advantage on you by pitting under the caution. They're just going to lose track position. And you saw how difficult it was for Brian Wall to make his way around Quarterly. That tells you how important track position is.
54 car is Paul Wolf trying to get up on Matt Kobyluck for the 3rd position.
Wolf's a rookie. Got 1 top 5 finish this year at New Hampshire and getting it done on the road course. Look at him driving with 1 hand. He just barely got the other hand by the steering wheel.
Doesn't ever cross the hands over.
No, just totally feeds it from 1 hand to the other. You don't want to get your hands all crossed up at this racetrack as much as the times as you spend sideways.
Get behind on your steering.
Thing might jump around on you. You'd be cross-armed.
Could have some big consequences. Brian, the defending winner of this race, set a new record in qualifying.
Oh, he's coming to the pit road.
Here he comes. So Brian Wall down to the 35-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit and comes in handing the lead now to Brad Leighton.
Brian Wall has given up the race lead to make his pit stop. The Chris Raymond-led crew goes to work. It's going to be 1 can of fuel and a clean of the grill only. This is the strategy that won him the race last year. And Brian is back out. Right behind Wall, Rookie of the Year leader Mike Johnson in the Johnson Lumber Taurus makes his stop. Jack Roush power beneath the hood. Gas and go.
So Brad Leighton is now the third leader of the Dodge Dealers 200, and we'll see how long he stays out before coming in for some fuel.
He needs to pit now. I mean, you don't want to risk this. Once you're inside of your window, you got to pit in case that caution flies. It's okay to lead the race, and if you needed those points, but he doesn't, so he needs to pit.
No. Nothing here to do but win the race for Brad Leighton today, as he will be the Busch North Series champion for 16 starts to this point of 17 in the season, and he's got top 10 finishes in every race.
He can make his second Busch Grand National North Series championship. He also won the American-Canadian Tour Championship back in '95, so Brad knows how to get it done. There's another guy that knows how to get it done. Won the last time we were on a road course, Andy Santerre.
Working on Tracy Gordon here.
He didn't even know if he was going to run this race today or not. There's a modified race going on up at Thompson. He qualified the car for that, but didn't know if he was going to drive it in the race or not, and he is, obviously.
Well, actually, he qualified Jerry Marquis' car here, is what he came here to do, while Marquis was qualifying at Thompson. And then Marquis came back here and made the race. Whoa! Bobby Dragon's got some troubles. Caution's out.
Yeah, that's a lot of smoke.
The rider on the flag stand. And the yellow flag is going to wave over this Dodge Dealers 200 for a second time. And the pace car picks up Brad Leighton.
Yes, who hasn't made his pit stop yet. That can be good.
So caution is out for the second time in this race, and we'll see how many of the leaders... Pace car trying to catch up the leader again.
Wow.
We've seen that a couple of times here.
Good thing he's got a hot rod to catch up with.
That little Viper will get the job done, you think?
I think so. And I want to tell you what, this swings a tremendous amount of advantage to those couple of cars that have already pitted. That's what you had to do.
Brian Wall and Dale Quarterly.
Right, and those guys have got an advantage now, I believe. Everything that I know that says they do anyway.
They will stay on the track, and you expect most of the leaders to pit here.
Yes, and check out Dragon.
Bobby?
You know what?
You're missing something, Bobby.
I think his rear end
tires.
I think the rear end track bar broke in the back and let the rear end flop around and wound up cutting both rear tires.
It's not going to last long like that.
Is he almost where he's going?
I hope so. Here's third place Matt Kobyluck on pit road.
And even if the leaders don't...
Excuse me, second place, I'm sorry.
Even if they don't all pit here, they all got to pit sometime. Yeah. And the caution flag allowed Quarterly and Leighton to close right up. Excuse me, Quarterly and Wall to close right up to them, under this caution. So it's an advantage no matter how you look at it.
Let's go to pit road, Mike.
Tracy Gordon, a quick splash and go for fuel only, and a big traffic jam as he and Dale Shaw try to get out of the pits. Matt Kobyluck, Rick Bell, Ted Christopher in the outside lane. Eddie Doyle as well. Now everybody is out. Shaw has trouble restarting. And away he goes.
And Bobby Dragon needing a lift. As you saw him signal from inside the car, Brad Leighton did not pit under the caution. Kind of surprised by that. We'll come back for the restart of the Dodge Dealers.
The teams that did not stop under green previously almost had to come in under this yellow. We're in the fuel window, and anybody who's not stopped by now is going to have a lot of fast cars to have to work their way through. Brian Wall's strategy of coming in under green may have been a good one.
But you got to wonder about Brad Leighton, who has not yet visited the pit lane. He is in the lead, but now it's only 4 cars back to Brian Wall, separating himself from someone who's already gotten his fuel and is good to go to the finish.
Yeah, and check out all those cars that are going to be between Brian Wall and Brad Leighton when Brad does pit. Some 30 cars behind Brian.
Saw Paul Wolf duck onto pit road just as the green flag came out. That's curious strategy.
Well, the only thing I'm wondering is if he thinks he might want a tire change. You know, you can't get tires underneath the caution. Maybe under green, he thinks he can get him a couple of tires. Check out that move. Nice job, Brian. Dove to the inside of that sideways car. Here comes Santerre, trying to tear his way up through the field.
A guy who hadn't planned on running here when he came here this weekend. He's having a pretty good time so far. This could be tight.
He's on the right side of the road, though.
So Brad Leighton leads. Brian Wall now setting off in hot pursuit. He's up to second. Santerre is third.
If I was Brian, I wouldn't even be in hot pursuit. I would just sit there and watch him and say,
You know he's got to pull off.
get you some gas there, buddy.
Tracy Gordon locked up with Dale Shaw in that tight fight for second in points. Look out ahead.
Steve split. Steve part. He drove through the middle. Who was that getting together? I can't see for the dust. Oh, no. Matt Kobyluck.
Oh, terrible luck there for Matt. That's Joe Pezza in the orange car, the 37. And more trouble.
Still wrecking.
That's Kip Stockwell in the 16.
He got center punched by someone.
I believe that's the 99 of Greg Schaefer in the middle of all that. No, there's Greg there.
Somebody hit Stockwell solid.
Caution is out. This is the third one of the race. A couple of separate incidents ending up taking several cars off the course or into some form of damage. And the pace car will pick up the field once more. So now, if Leighton stops here, he's really going to be behind a lot of cars. This doesn't add right now.
No, there's no way this can be good. Once the leader pitted, Brian Wall, and then the caution flew, if you hadn't pitted yet, you're in trouble. Because, you know, he's got a fast car. He's already made it to the front. And so you're not going to be able to beat Brian Wall today unless he has a problem, I don't believe.
Look at the damage to Matt Kobyluck's car.
There's the car, too, that I talked about.
It was the 99. That was Greg Schaefer that hit him.
Hit Stockwell right solid, and he can't move. Kip drove off, so...
Not as bad for him as we thought originally.
There's the pace car.
He's ahead of him this time.
He waited around for him.
Okay, so the third yellow of the Dodge Dealers 200 multi-car accident down to the final corners. It was Matt Kobyluck, Joe Pezza, Kip Stockwell, and Greg Schaefer, the four drivers whose cars were involved in the wreck. It is Brad Leighton leading Brian Wall and Andy Santerre. As we take a commercial break here, we'll come back for the restart in the Dodge Dealers 200. Back at Lime Rock Park for the Dodge Dealers 200. The NASCAR Busch North Series, it is Brad Leighton leading Brian Wall. Difference is, Wall has pitted and has fuel to the finish. Leighton, Busch North Series champ, has not yet stopped and is going to have to come to pit road sooner or later. Green flag.
There comes Dragon. He got his car fixed. It looked like it was a mess, but they got a couple tires on it. I guess the rear end housing, maybe they could have thrown a track bar on it and got it square back up in that quick. But great work by the crew to get him back on the road, but he's many laps down.
Watching Brian Wall apply heavy pressure to Brad Leighton for the race lead. Wall considered to be somewhat of a road course expert. It is his background. I mean, he's done fairly well on the oval tracks in the Busch North Series, but he has a little bit of an advantage on guys like Leighton who come from an oval track background and then are running a road course here.
I love that jump right
Isn't it,
there.
though?
That's the best. You got to remember to let off on the straightaway so you can get your wheels back on the ground.
Some of the sports cars, when they run here and they take that hill, it's just breathtaking because it just looks like they just come right off the ground.
One of my crew members, as we got a little bit of a challenge for the lead here, Wayne Severance, the crew member of mine, works on my Busch team. He borrowed one of my race cars and brought it up here and attempted to qualify for the race. Unfortunately for Wayne, didn't make the show. First time he'd been in a car in quite a few years, just been working on them. And he said that was the best part of the whole track, getting to hop that hill.
I'll bet.
Talking to him this morning, he said that he really enjoyed this racetrack, and you can see why. Golly, this is fun for a driver. This is what it's all about.
He's got to run. Brian Wall up to the inside of Brad Leighton. This will be a squeeze. And Leighton shuts him off. And for Brian Wall, he's got... love that. He's got nothing to lose by giving Leighton some room because he knows Brad's got a pit.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I'm surprised he's as worried about it as he is. You don't want to... On a road course, you can very easily overdrive your car and make a mistake or break something in it. So you don't want to be doing that, especially when you're sitting there with the knowledge of knowing that the 55 car is going to come to pit road any lap now. I expect him to come in every time we come by the start-finish line. He just hadn't done it. And Brian's obviously proved he's got a very strong car. A lot of people are high on Brian Wall. not only about his road racing ability, but his oval track ability as well. He's a young man with a bright future in this sport.
Leighton a little wide there through the S corners. Maybe pressing a little hard, knowing Brian Wall's behind him. There's Andy Santerre. And a tight fight there with Dale Quarterly as you watch the leader, Brad Leighton, inside the office. Whoa! Around he goes.
We were live on board with him when he went.
Oh, and he's stuck behind the bridge. He's got to back up. And more trouble.
Golly.
John Wall is off. Mitchell-Lades is off. Boissonneau is off. And here's Brad Leighton still trying to get back on the course.
I bet you Pitts can get some gas now. What do you think, Alan?
They're going to need more than gas after spinning.
Do you think all those cars are going to get going, or are we going to see a caution? There was a lot of wrecked race cars sitting right there. That's a blind corner, too. You know, you come around the turn, and you can't see what's up ahead. And
I think that's why things happened as fast as they did. Here's a look ahead from Wall's car.
He just got on the curb, and the thing jumped away from him. Leighton spins out.
And you see the overpass there. He came to rest behind the overpass, so he had to back up before he could get back on the course. Well, there's tough luck there for Joe Pezza. He got caught in the last one. Now he's caught in another one.
And the leader's dad also was a part of that, John Wall. We saw Mitchell-Lades come by there.
There's the yellow flag waving in this corner.
I think we're going to see a full force here, aren't we?
Well, so far, not yet.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There's
All right, caution's out. Here comes the pace car. Okay. Fourth yellow. We were kind of expecting it, but just waiting to find out for sure.
The guy at the start-finish line didn't have his out. I guess the corner workers had the field slowed down. He didn't have his out yet, and when the cars come on the front straightaway, he started waving. And that's, from where we're sitting, that's the only vantage point we have of the course really is right here in front of you.
So, fourth yellow of the Dodge Dealers 200. It's come to be fairly typical of things here at Lime Rock. Lots of caution flags in this race. From the way the cars slip and slide, and as tight as the field is bunched together, you're not surprised by that at all.
No, we had that one called, didn't we?
Guys, good thing this is the last race of the year. Guys are going to have a lot of work to do back at the shop.
Louis back on the road there.
Started on a provisional for today's race, competing for the 20th spot in points coming into the season finale.
Sure wished old Wayne had made the race. It's been fun to sit here and talk about him.
Then you would have had to put a car back together, though, from the looks of things, the way they've gone so far. So, yellow number 4 in the Dodge Dealers 200 at Lime Rock Park. And the lead back in the hands now of Brian Wall after Brad Leighton spun off while in the top spot. Park in the Dodge Dealers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series, about cleaned up from the big mess up at the top of the hill. It had 4 or 5 cars involved in a crash, and Brian Wall leads him down to the green flag, and we are back at it once again.
A lot of action on that start. Here comes Quarterly. We saw him get the jump at the start of the race and take the lead.
Up the outside.
I think he's going to do it again.
And he shuts him off. Here's Brad Leighton on pit road. Mike?
The green flag comes down and Leighton comes in. It's past the halfway point. Leighton to make a scheduled pit stop. But in addition to fuel, Leighton climbed up on one of the curbs and in a spin believes he flat spotted his tires. They can change all the tires they want under the green flag. Fueling is done, so they're waiting for the tire change to be completed, and this will be a costly stop. Down and away.
Just the left side tires there on the Brad Leighton car, and that is going to drop him way, way back in the field.
Any stop at this point in the race is going to be costly for him because most of the leaders have made their pit stops. A lot of traffic between where Brad was going to wind up and the lead, so that spin hurt him, but the fact that he had to make that pit stop hurt worse.
As you look at the field coming through, it is Brian Wall leading. Dale Quarterly is second. There's the rundown. Mike Olson, despite some damage on the left rear corner of his car, is up to third, with Andy Santerre dropping back to fourth. Here the Santerre's team is a little concerned about him conserving fuel to make the finish of this one. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Let's check back down on pit road. Mike Joy is with a young driver who ran so very well in the early part of this race, but got taken out in a crash a little while ago. It's with Matt Kobyluck down in the garage.
Matt Kobyluck, they started out up front, and then what in the world happened in front of you?
Well, Mike, we had a real good car. We're running in the top 5 there, getting to our first pit stop, take on gas, and when we came back out, we're at tail end of the field, which you knew we would, so we went back green there, and I was going to just try and bide my time and get one guy a lap and wait for those guys to get into their pits, take their fuel on, and they hadn't pitted yet, so the 26 car and the 37, they were both, I don't know, they were kind of trying to pass each other in the wrong places, so I'm hanging back behind them, waiting because I figured something was going to happen. I was hanging back about 3 or 4 car lengths, and sure enough, coming down the hill, where everyone knows you can't pass, coming down the hill, the 26 car pulled to the inside of the 37, tried passing them coming into that corner. They came together and spun up the whole racetrack. I slowed up to try and avoid it, and I tried going around, and when I went to go around, the 37 car came across the nose, and, we went off course into the wall and really tore up the car back.
Uh-oh, speaking of off course,
Thanks, Mike.
there's the second place car, Dale Quarterly. Big time.
Yeah, he got wide there coming
He
over
got
the front.
lucky. That's what he did.
He did. That was a wild slide.
He got lucky.
But he's still rolling.
So even though these tires are hard, like we've talked earlier, now he's got dirt all over them. That can only make the problem worse.
Yeah, it should wear off fairly quickly, though. The fact that they are hard is he's probably used to the feel of them, feeling like they got dirt on them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be making Matt mad, would you? Did you see the size of him?
I was kind of laughing. He said everybody knows you can't pass in that corner. Well, obviously one guy didn't know it. Olson around Quarterly picks up the second spot. So Mike Olson moving a little bit closer to the front after finishing as the runner-up in this race a year ago. Down the pit road, here's Mike Joy.
John Wall's out of the race early. Your son's defending champion and the leader right now. Is Brian going to win this?
Man, if he doesn't, I'll tell you we're in trouble because we don't want to take home 2 cars that are wrecked. And if he doesn't win it, he'll wreck it. I know that guy.
And then he'll have to answer to Dad.
That was a pretty frank assessment on Dad's part.
Well, he thinks he knows that his son has a big advantage right now, and the only thing that could take it out is a mistake or a cut tire or something like that. But man, it'd be nice to be sitting in Brian Wall's shoes right now, wouldn't it?
He obviously has the best car in the race to this point. Watching Andy Santerre move up on the back of Dale Quarterly and try and pressure him for the 3rd spot.
That is so wild.
It is. It's great.
Hopping off the road. Teddy Christopher's a guy we hadn't heard a lot out of today either. He usually runs really well on the road courses and in the Busch North cars as well, and he hasn't quite been able to make his presence known yet, but still got a ways to go.
Santerre looking up the inside of Quarterly as they break for turn 1.
Can't quite get there.
Not quite. And in the meantime, Brian Wall is putting some distance on the rest of the field. He's opened up the advantage you saw there on second place Mike Olson.
We kind of expected that when he got the lead that he would drive away because he was just so much pressure in Quarterly when he had the lead. Just had to figure he's a little quicker, and indeed he is. This is the first time I've ever been to Lime Rock.
It's a pretty neat place, isn't it?
It's great. What about that setting? Oh, no,
Trouble
big crash.
on the backstretch. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars involved, and most of the track is blocked at this point as traffic comes through looking for a way around.
And they're diving to the grass.
Mike Bruno, Tommy Beamer, both involved, among the cars involved anyway.
Good Lord.
I want to go back this way.
That was pretty serious.
Some debris and some pieces of race car. There's Beamer's machine stuffed into the guardrail.
Laughlin Racing products. Still need to go there. Here comes the pace car trying to catch up again.
Getting out in front of the race leader.
There's Bruno's car. We saw him spin earlier in the Fisher Snowplows entry. Didn't hit anything that time. This time got wadded up there a little bit.
And this time he has. Well, they'll have to come back and fix that. This would be caution number 5 of the Lime Rock Park Dodge Dealers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series, just past halfway. Back at Lime Rock Park in the Dodge Dealers 200 under caution again. Let's go to pit road.
Dale Shaw and Tracy Gordon are just a handful of points apart for second and season-ending honors. Busch North lines up in the pits by point standings. So there's Shaw's pit, and here's Gordon. At the end of the day, one of them will be the second-place point man, and right now, they're just one spot apart on the racetrack as well.
Dale Shaw running in 13th, and Tracy Gordon running in 14th. That is going to be tough. Tight.
Those guys have been shadowing each other all day long. We saw Gordon with a little bit of trouble early, but he's worked through that. Pace car leaves the speedway, road course, whatever you want to call it.
Too. Let's try this again. As the green flag is back in the air, Brian Wall leading Mike Olson, and Dale Quarterly going to try that outside move into turn one. He's going to get second spot back.
Man, he can do some restarting, can he?
He's got some brakes on that thing.
Got some brakes, and he must have a real trick gearbox there, too. He gets off to the darndest starts I've ever seen. He looks like Ron Hornaday in his truck.
Yeah. Missed a restart. Here's Tracy Gordon. Talked about him a minute ago. Up, look out. Right in front of him.
Got a spin right there as Rick Bell in number 78. Man, did you see how the view was just totally obscured? He couldn't see anything and picked his way through there. Those guys look like they still want to wreck.
They haven't stopped yet.
There's the 78 tripping back toward the pit.
And there's Martin Truex. Was running in 10th spot. He is losing time. Caution is out.
That has become something that is happening more and more here lately.
Yeah.
There comes the caution car.
Pace car trying to catch up to the leader once again.
We need to figure out why that keeps happening. He ran that 86 car off the track that time.
Dennis Demers, understanding that it's not a good idea to hit a pace car, has probably a good choice on his part. So, yellow number 6 is out in the Dodge Dealers 200 at Lime Rock. We'll regroup here in this commercial break and come back for the race. Back at Lime Rock, we're just past halfway in the Dodge Dealers 200 season finale for the NASCAR Busch North Series. Alan Bestwick with Michael Waltrip and Mike Joy, and you're looking at Brian Wall, the leader and by far dominant driver in this event.
He's got the Burnham Boiler sponsorship on that car, but Alan, I was hearing in the pit area that sponsorship might move over to the 55 team next year, Brad Leighton.
Leighton, the two-time Busch North Series champion, possibly picking up the backing there.
We'll see how that turns out.
Yep.
We always enjoy watching these cars when they come to Watkins Glen and Loudon, some of those racetracks. So we'll see what colors are on the 55 car next year.
Rick Bell, involved in this most recent crash. Mike Joy is with him down in the garage area.
Rick Bell is one of Lime Rock's more experienced road racers, especially in big bore machinery like this. His day is over early. Rick, what happened?
I guess I was following the guys that don't know how to drive too close, that's all.
Well, a lot of these fellows don't have much road race experience, but what put you off?
The two guys in front of me were usually pretty good drivers, but they got battling through the left-hander and then the right-hander, and they spun, and I was in the gas. Not smart on my part, I guess.
Sorry to see you out of it.
Okay, thanks.
Got some work to do to fix that one. Bell joining a very long list of drivers who are out of this one. Dennis Doyle, Joe Pezza, Tommy Beamer, John Wall, Matt Kobyluck, Greg Schaefer, David Darling, Mike Rowe, all in the garage area and out of this one, and we're just past halfway.
The list goes on and on.
I'll bet it grows some, too.
I bet it does, too, because right now we're going back to green. You know, we always say cautions have a tendency to breed caution.
Yes, you do like that saying a lot. Let's see if Quarterly gets that rabbit restart this time. He's going to try the outside once more. This time it'll be on Brian Wall for the race lead.
Well, I think he's got it.
Oh, that's a pretty fast game of chicken into that corner.
Whoa.
It's not going to work out for some. That's Dale Shaw in the 91.
Can he keep... Shaw kept it going the right way.
Locked up in that tight fight for second in points. Martin Truex there was one of the cars that got scrambled up.
Now, Truex drove away. Or trying to.
No, that's not Truex. He was one of the guys that got turned around.
Yeah, Truex was on the other side of the road trying to get going. The 59 there. Looks like he got into Shaw and almost caused a big mess. And Truex was knocked out of the top 10 because of it.
Big traffic jam has allowed the top 5 to get away. You saw the distance there from these 5 back to the rest of the field. Dale Quarterly really getting brave with those outside passes into turn 1. If he gets pushed off there, it's going to be big.
Man, he can get a restart though, can he?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think his brakes are that much better than anyone else's, because once they go back racing, he doesn't seem to be able to not deep anyone, but he can flat time that restart. Whoa, he got a little bit loose there. You can see Santerre making a run on him.
Just not any room to pass at this part of the course, though.
Very tight. And that's why we talked about the importance of making your pit stop at the right time. You don't want to give up track position. Doesn't matter how fast your car is, you get behind all these guys, you're never going to pass them all.
Notice Andy going through that part of the course in second. Some of the onboard cameras with Brian Wall, he goes through there in first gear.
Right, and we also saw at the start of the race where Leighton was going through there in third. So it just depends. The transmission, all the internal parts of the transmission. Listen.
What do you say? Something's going to let go?
Just hang on, buddy.
Yeah.
Keep going till it breaks.
Wow.
That's a good strategy. I like that.
That's big. So that was from the leader's radio back to his crew saying something's going to let go.
Wow. And he's set here perfectly positioned to dominate this race, and he's got a problem. I like what the crew guy said. He said, well, keep going until it does, you know.
What do you got to lose at this point?
Run her till it breaks.
Mike, what's up down there with Brian Wall's car?
But Chris, that strategy of coming in early under green, getting in and getting out, so far so good.
Yeah, it worked for him last year, so we figured we'd go with the same plan. There's been no problems. We've been quick enough to stay there, so hopefully luck will hold out and we'll make it to the end.
No problems him climbing his way back up through the field?
No, he's just a phenomenal here. You know, there's no problem with that. So hopefully the thing will hold up and we'll be there at the end.
So now it's just a case of running time trial laps from here to the finish?
That's it. Okay. Just got to finish it.
Whoa. Mike, you need to grab him. We just heard through the radios that he had a problem with that car.
It's not looking like it right now. He's stretched out his advantage on Dale Quarterly a little bit. Speaking of problems, Joe's got some troubles there. Overheating on that car.
You know, these guys monitor each other's radios and transmissions, even watch TV on each other. Maybe he doesn't want the field to know he's got a problem.
I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Brian Wall is out in front of the Dodge Dealers 200 in Lime Rock, approaching the three-quarter point of this race. We heard him say a minute ago that something's going to let go, but it sure has not hurt his lap times.
Maybe that was someone else's radio transmission we got caught up there, but it said it was from his crew.
Yeah. Andy Santerre up and over the hill. Just love that part of this course.
That's one of the crazy things about doing this TV stuff, man.
You know, looking at this corner, the camera angle, as sometimes happens, you know, when you take a three-dimensional racetrack and you put it into a two-dimensional picture, it doesn't do the drop-off justice. That is a steep downhill run.
You drop off of there in a hurry. These guys know it. I can promise you that. Their stomachs wind up in their throat.
It's a roller coaster, that's for sure. Top four, put some distance on the field. Wall, Quarterly, Santerre, and Olson. 82 laps is the total distance in today's Dodge Dealers 200 at Lime Rock Park in northwestern Connecticut for the Dodge Dealers 200. Season finale for the NASCAR Busch North Series for 2000. It is Brian Wall who is out in front. Dale Quarterly is second. There's Wall. Quarterly. And now the race for third between Andy Santerre and Mike Olson.
And just coming up the hill there, you see Teddy Christopher. He's made his way into the top 5.
Teddy running 5th.
Starting to close in on this fourth one a little bit.
A little farther back, that tight race for second in points we've been talking about from time to time. Tracy Gordon runs in 10th. And after that little scrum down in turn 1 in the last restart, Dale Shaw has dropped to 16th. So Gordon in position to take second spot in the final point standings if he's able to hold his advantage over Shaw. Here's our field summary. Brad Leighton running back in the 11th spot. Remember, was a leader earlier, then spun while leading. Had to come to pit road under the green flag and has been digging out of the hole ever since.
Been in tight traffic ever since that time. It looks like Mike Johnson from Massachusetts will win the Ray Bestich Rookie of the Year award.
From where? Where's he from?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Not Massachusetts?
No.
In Kentucky it is.
Probably.
Well, anyway, as I was saying, he was in a tight battle with Paul Wolf for that, but it looks like he's got it won.
Say it with me, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Sounds like when we did that Winston West race from Motegi, Japan. And you had the one guy's name you just couldn't get over.
No, I had a hard time with that.
Pretty strong run for Andy Santerre for a race car he didn't expect to. Ooh, look at Wall smoking the left front there.
We've seen that several times today. Get that thing down into that left-hand turn. And, you know, I think the reason why that is, this track is so dominantly right-hand turns. He's got that car set up to go around the right-hand turns. And when he has to come to the left, he says, well, I'll sacrifice that one turn so I can get around the others better. And maybe because of the setup that he's chosen, it smokes that tire getting into the corner.
The problem with that is he needs that left front for the predominantly right-hand turn, so he can't keep dragging that thing. If he flat spots it, he's going to have a handling deficiency by the time we get down to the finish, especially when he's got quarterly pressuring him so hard.
These tires are like hockey pucks, so it would be very tough to flat spot one of them. You do that enough, though, you're right, Alan, that's exactly what will happen, but you got a little bit of margin for error there with the fact that these tires are so hard.
Yes, for those of you not familiar with the game of hockey, a hockey puck is very, very hard frozen rubber.
Yeah.
Looking at Mike Olson putting some pressure on Santerre for third spot.
And it looks like Quarterly's been able to keep up with Brian Wall better than I figured he would.
Yeah, first part of the race, Quarterly started on the outside pole, took the lead from Wall into the opening corner, but Brian was obviously faster and all over him until he finally got by. But now it looks like maybe that's leveling out a little bit.
It does, and nothing's changed. You know, we haven't made any tire changes on the top few cars here. Brad Leighton did elect to get 2 tires when he made his pit stop
because he had spun and flat spotted them. One stretch into turn 1 for Santerre.
And he's right on the right there behind the leaders, obviously, but just hadn't been able to get up there and turn the heat up on Quarterly.
So why would one guy like Brian Wall go for third gear in that corner and Santerre go for second gear, Mike? What determines that?
Well, usually the top runners all basically do about the same thing, but there's so many variations of the gears and selections that you can make in these transmissions. You can make your first gear higher so that you can use it, or you can delete the first gear and make second gear a little bit lower. And so there's just a lot of different combinations that you can run with these transmissions, in turn changes the rear gear you might run. So just a difference in preference. You come here and you test, you try things out. Kenny Schrader was telling me earlier that he came here and tested and won the first ever Busch North race that they had here. And when he came, the only thing he brought to his test were some gears for the transmission and the rear gear. So you can see
Mike Olson on the move.
Got to the inside of Santerre and is going to complete the pass. But that tells you the importance. You know, we talked earlier about the fact that it's hard to make these things handle good. They're going to slip, they're going to slide. You're going to have to just drive the heck out of them. But what you can do is change those gears in the back to make sure when you do get going down the straightaway, you got the right gear selected.
Here's a look from Santerre's onboard camera as Mike Olson forces him to the outside.
We haven't seen a whole lot of passing here today, have we?
Not at that part of the racetrack anyway. At least not among the leaders. In fact, we've seen a lot of passing back in the field, but among the front, it's pretty much been Wall and Quarterly and Leighton and a couple of others tagging along.
Yeah, now Wall is beginning to open up the advantage somewhat over Quarterly.
Ooh, keep it on the track, Brian. That was close. Brian Wall leads, 20 laps to go in the Dodge Dealers 200. The Dodge Dealers 200 at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut on Speed Vision. Season finale for the NASCAR Busch North Series. While we were away in the break, Brian Wall has padded his advantage a little bit on second place, Dale Quarterly. Watching Brian run up the back stretch. Here's Andy Santerre, fourth place car. I won't call it a straightaway, but
here we go. Spin the rear tires on the straightaway. That's pretty cool.
A lot of third gear on this course.
Dropped hard downhill right there in this section. See here, Walter Riley. We began the show by seeing Walter's car dead on the side of the road. He was able to get it started, remained on the lead lap. Now he's running in 6th. He's just ahead of Dennis Demers and Bill Penfold there. So that's a pretty good day for Walter.
It is. It is a great run. I mean, he was within 30 feet of being lapped. And now he's in position to get a top 10 finish, maybe even a top 5.
He's getting a lot of pressure there from Demers and Penfold.
Haven't seen these guys really all day, except for Riley at the beginning when he was having troubles, but solid top 10 performances. They've been there basically all race. Here's Demers looking to the inside. Not quite.
Riley held him off. Riley held him off. I got to work on my grammar if I'm going to do this TV stuff. You say it's Massachusetts. How do you say it? Massachusetts, not Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
I got you.
Thank you.
Did I mention?
Look out.
Oh.
Dennis, keep it on the course.
Wow.
That's trouble.
Come on, keep her going, Dennis.
That's where David Darling got stuck earlier and brought out the first caution of the race. Looks like Dennis is going to slide her on through.
He made it on through. He made a real smart decision there. He just wanted to keep the momentum up.
Wow.
Keep her rolling through that Marcy stuff, giving Walter Riley a little bit of a breathing room there. Speaking of breathing room, here's the man of the day. Check out his hands, Alan. He just barely, like you said, flipping those hands around, real soft on the wheel. And that's simply because of all the driving you got to do. If you held onto that thing with a death grip, you couldn't react fast enough to put all the steering input into it that he obviously is doing.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of it. Now, we heard earlier, monitoring Brian's scanner, that he said this thing's going to blow up, I believe is what he said. This thing's going to break.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Well, no, I'm wondering if maybe that came. The crewmen down on pit road haven't said a word about it.
Nope.
I don't know if that's part of the poker game they're playing, or if indeed we got someone else's transmission crossed up there. What do you think?
We confirmed that it came from Brian's car, but we haven't been able to get anybody on pit road to answer up to it. So we'll find out. So far, so good. Saw Joey McCarthy in the 41 slipping back a little bit.
Look at his hands. I love in-car cameras.
Thing is, from riding on board and listening to the RPMs of the engine, because he's got this thing in third gear through this part of the course, it just sounds like he's not going anywhere. But
yeah.
He is flying through there. He is teetering on the edge of control. On hand today at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut for the Dodge Dealers 200. This is the race leader, Brian Wall. He's been the dominant driver throughout. He's in some lap traffic now, though. Up to the inside of Martin Truex, the 20th place car. And by.
Like you said, this is the first real significant lap traffic that these guys have had to deal with all day long, and we've made note of how tough it is to pass here, so you're going to have to be careful working this traffic.
See Dale Quarterly getting held up a little more in the traffic than was Brian Wall. Looked like Brian got through a little bit cleaner. That's Joey McCarthy in the 41, giving the lead lap cars room. Back to Andy Santerre in fourth.
These cars are going around this track faster than ever, though, Alan. New track record set by Wall in qualifying. And the speeds in the race here haven't fallen off a great deal.
See visibility getting a little tough here as the afternoon draws late at a couple of sections on the course where the drivers are facing directly into the sun. Watching Mike Olson here. Runner-up in this race 1 year ago. He's in third position now. Got his car nicked up in one of the earlier scrambles we had on the racetrack where he got run into from behind.
There's that sliding left front tire again.
Yeah. There's Santerre through in fourth as the leaders snake their way around the S corners and start to head up the no-name stretch. Oop, what's that?
Piece of trash, I guess.
Something tumbling around there.
Like a piece of insulation maybe out of one of the cars.
Drop back to this race again with Walter Riley coming through. There's Brad Leighton trying to move his way back up into the field. As Truex is in trouble. 56 car.
Flat left rear.
Yeah. Tough luck there for Martin Truex as he limps his way back around the pit road. He was on the, he had just gone a lap down, and now this problem is going to slow things for him.
One of the advantages to radial tires for our viewers is they just don't cut as easily. So on a road course where there's a lot of stuff flying around, we saw Bill Pinfold go through there with the smoking problem.
Yeah.
That's the top 10 cars, so we'll have to check on that. But when there's a lot of trash on the racetrack, the radials just don't cut down like a bias ply tire wheel. It doesn't have the belt around it to keep things from puncturing it. So these bias ply tires are less expensive, but they cut a little bit easier, and it's going to cost cost him there.
Dennis Demers in the 86, back on track after an off-course excursion a little while ago. Back to the Brad Leighton story for a minute. Spun while leading earlier in the event. That was at lap number 36. He spun out of the top slot. He has been digging out of the hole ever since, trying to get himself back up, see if he can knock off a top 5 finish. 12 laps to go. Down to the closing stages of the Dodge Steelers 200 at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. For the NASCAR Busch North Series, we've touched on a couple of times the tight fight for second in final Busch North Series points. And look at this on the racetrack.
They've been that way a lot of the day.
Tracy Gordon in the 14, Dale Shaw in the 91. 5 points apart to Gordon's advantage coming into the race. Basically, whichever finishes in front of the other is going to get second spot. They are nose to tail, or 1 spot apart on the racetrack anyway. And Billy Penfold's problems looking like they're mounting.
Yeah, I think that car needs to get to pit road. I believe when you see smoke that intense, yeah, he is heading to the pit.
That's probably a good thing.
It looked like Shaw got sideways coming up the straightaway there, too. Like maybe he hit some of the oil that was coming out of Penfold's car. Walter Riley losing a spot there. Leighton slides on by as he continues to march back toward the front. After a spin that put him behind, but also some suspect. Whoa,
look out.
Stockwell.
Trouble there.
Maybe some oil in that corner like we talked about, Alan. That car looked pretty normal, and it just spun around.
Going to get it fired up and keep going.
Yes, he is, and no oncoming traffic.
And caution just in that part of the course. We will stay under the green flag. Here's Tracy Gordon. What a season he's had this year. 5 wins, 5 poles. In the Busch North Series this year, he's just been great.
Yes, he has. He came from Oxford Plains Speedway, and anybody knows anything about racing in the Northeast knows about Oxford Plains. Oxford 250 is one of the biggest short track races there was back in the early 90s.
Looks like it's going to be a day for Penfold as he's pulling off the gloves inside the car.
He had a great run going all day long. Man, these guys are battling, aren't they?
This is farther back at the tail end of the top 20 and still nobody giving any quarter.
Check them out.
A lot of fun for guys, even if they're a little bit farther back in the pack. Hey, let's get an update on Brad Leighton from Mike Joy.
Brad Leighton has spun, broke his 3rd gear, and he's already clinched the Busch North Championship. Why is he still out there? He's trying to keep intact a perfect record. Leighton has finished on the lead lap of every single Busch North race this season. That's quite an accomplishment. He doesn't want to bring big string today. He's in a solid 9th place despite having only top gear.
And you ride on board with Brad now. It's going to be hard to run this course with only high gear.
Yeah, I'm going to check out his... It's nice to stay in the car for a little bit, guys, and see. Yeah, he's not skipping any of the islands. Makes your job a little bit easier. Ooh. Look at him. He's still able to make a solid run down this front straightaway. That's a 4th-year straightaway, basically.
This part of the course would be tough, though, in high gear.
Yes, it would be. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of race car you're driving or what series you're in. You finish a year on the lead lap every race. That means the car didn't break, but it also means you didn't hit anything, you didn't make any mistakes. And that's the kind of stuff a car owner's looking for. If he wants to advance a guy or wants to take a chance on a guy moving into his race car, he wants a guy that's going to take care of the equipment and give himself a chance to finish up front every week. He's certainly done that this year.
Brian Wall is the leader of the Dodge Steelers 200. We saw Tracy Gordon and Dale Shaw continuing to fight for second in the final point standings. We're down to the final 7 laps. Down toward the finish of the Dodge Steelers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series at Lime Rock Park in northwestern Connecticut. Brian Wall is the race leader, monitoring his car since early in the race when he reported that it was going to give up at any minute, but it has not missed a beat so far. And now back to the race for second in the final series championship standings. Tracy Gordon with Dale Shaw getting around him. Wow. That was second spot in the final points you just saw change hands, unless Gordon can get back around Shaw. Dale Shaw in the 91, slipping underneath Tracy Gordon in the 14. And that's some serious money just changed hands.
Wow. Those guys have been at it.
How you can race all season long and come down to, one finishing position in one final race has the difference between a spot in the championship.
And never be able to separate yourselves from each other during the course of that event.
Yep.
They're totally reminded of what they're up against all day long. Those guys, some of them just hammer it over that hump. And Brad without third. Maybe he's got second. See there?
Yeah, he's not running in fourth gear because he had to let off on the straightaway.
Yeah. He's got a transmission problem, definitely. But which gear's missing, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's Mike Johnson, and Dale Shaw, and Dave Dion, and there's Tracy Gordon. So Shaw's been able to separate himself from Gordon a little bit.
Watching these drivers all race for position here. They're toward the, actually just outside of the top 10.
Shaw's been able to stay steady in his trek back toward the top 10.
Check that. Let's go from 7th place on back. Walter Riley in the 60 is in 7th. Dion is in 8th. As Brian Wall comes up and puts a lap on one of the cars.
Got around the Fisher Snowplow's car. He's had a heck of a day.
Plowed a little dirt off the side of this course. This is the race for 7th here.
I bet you snow gets deep here, doesn't it? Whoa.
Oh, look out.
Now,
Careful.
wait. That was Walter Riley. And he cut Johnson off pretty good, which was nice of Mike not to hit him.
That could have been big.
You don't get that much more cut off than that. Let's see how this battle resolves. And see, there's Dale Shaw right in the middle of that.
He's wanting to get around a couple of these cars and give himself a little breathing room on Tracy Gordon.
That's another car sponsored by GOD.
Back to Tracy Gordon.
Man, Tracy needs to get up there and join those guys.
4 laps to go. Brian Wall trying to win the Dodge Dealers 200 at the Dodge Dealers 200 for the NASCAR Busch North Series at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. It is Brian Wall trying to score the victory in this race for a second straight year. We're watching racing for the 10th spot on back here.
Now this is interesting. Gordon needs to get by that other GOD car. Should I say God?
Oh, look out. Walter Riley there as Gordon tried to peek to his outside. Tracy's running in the 11th spot. Riley's in 10th.
And Shaw's just up ahead. So look at that. Riley knows the deal. He knows what's up for grabs here, doesn't he?
He's got to keep Tracy Gordon behind him to protect his teammate. Oh, look out. Tight squeeze at that part of the course. Billy McCarthy does a nice job of getting out of the way.
This could get intense.
See Dale Shaw looking for a spot there. As they come into turn number 1.
Maybe it's...
That's Johnson going to give him room. So that's a little bit more pad there for Shaw over Tracy Gordon.
And this is the way you like to win them right here. Well out in front. No concerns about fuel. Although, we did get a report that he thought it was going to break at any moment. And so at least if he had someone behind him challenging him, he wouldn't be worried about that.
I mean, it's just, it hasn't hiccuped all race long. And it was, what, about halfway when we got that. Oh, Walter Riley loose. Here comes Gordon. Oh, trouble.
You had to know that was going to happen.
Oh, into the dirt bank.
Man.
Oops.
A little bit of sign language there.
Yeah.
Did he lose a position? I couldn't tell.
Well, I mean, he was already behind Shaw anyway.
But, I mean, did Tracy lose a position? I didn't see any cars go by as he was sliding through the grass and gesturing to Riley.
Well, nonetheless, he's going to lose second to the final points to Dale Shaw, Riley's teammate. And now we are on the white flag lap for Brian Wall. If he's been worried about the thing breaking, he's only got to worry about it for one more lap around this mile-and-a-half course. And he's well out in front of Dale Quarterly now as he makes his way on the white flag lap.
The Westfield, Massachusetts driver looks like he's got this thing in the bag.
Massachusetts.
When we check him out.
And actually, Brian's from New Hampshire, but that's another story.
Oh. Well, who's from Westfield, Massachusetts?
That would be Dale Quarterly, the second-place driver.
Oh, yeah, it does say that. This whole TV deal, that media guys and all that stuff, it's new to me.
Brian Wall is going to make it back-to-back wins in the Dodge Dealers 200 at Lime Rock. Here he comes, final corner. Checkered flags are there. Dominant performance for Brian Wall and his team. He wins. Let's get out of Brian Wall's pit area. Here's Mike Joy.
For the second year in a row, Brian Wall takes the checkered flag at Lime Rock, and his crew celebrates, and they well deserve it.
Yes, they do. They all did their jobs, Alan. The pit strategy was perfect. The execution was there. The car didn't break like he suspected at one point that it might.
Yeah.
And he's on his cool-down lap for a well-deserved victory.
One of the few Fords in the field. Brian's dad is a Ford dealer. You see the sticker there on the dashboard, Wall's Ford Lincoln Mercury. From Plainstow, New Hampshire.
Just up the road a piece.
Not far from Loudon, New Hampshire, where the Winston Cup cars run. You know that area, Mike.
Well,
we'll take a commercial break here, come back and hear from Wall, today's winner, and wrap up the Dodge Dealers 200 for the Busch North back at Lime Rock Park. Fans getting ready to file out after watching the Dodge Dealers 200, which Brian Wall has won. A couple of his younger fans there. Exciting race the fans saw today, though fairly brutal one. A lot of caution flag laps. 29 of the 82 laps consumed by the yellow flag in 6 different caution periods. Wall ended up leading 47 of the 82 laps. Basically only gave it up for his pit stop. And then just to work his way back through.
And that pit stop was made at the perfect time. The guys had a plan. They stuck to it. And Brian just drove the heck out of that car all day long.
Brian getting the salute from all the corner workers around the course. What was that? Did you see that? Well, we've seen a little sign language in the cars today. We've seen corner workers mooning drivers on their victory lap.
He didn't deserve that.
I don't know what that's all about.
Let's not ask.
There's got to be some sort of behind-the-scenes story there.
Behind?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's get Mike to ask Brian about that.
Yeah, he's seen it all today, I think. All right, Wall coming back around to where we can get a hold of him and talk to him here in just a minute. First, why don't we take a look at the final results? Wall, Quarterly, Olson, Santerre, and Penny Christopher, your top 5. It'll be Brad Leighton coming up with a 6th-place run today. Keeps his record intact of finishing every lap in the season in all top 10s.
Walter Riley wound up finishing 13th, just ahead of Tracy Gordon.
So Dale Shaw will get second in points.
He will move to second. These are some guys down here at the bottom of the page that had some problems during the course of the day. We saw Pinfode there fall out.
Bobby Dragon losing a number of laps after the rear end problem on his car. Some of the drivers involved in the bumps, spins, bangs, and crashes that consumed a lot. Matt Kobyluck had a great run going early, got swept up in a crash, wound up finishing way down in 32nd position. The victory donuts for Brian Wall. They're waving at him. Come on, get over here. DB's ready to interview you.
We talked about car control. Yeah, he's displaying his car control there. He's got a lot of practice, as we said. This track's wild. Those guys were sideways more than they were straight today. He did a great job. He's got a new wife. Just got married. I think we can get her in there. I like his little hat. What do you think, Alan?
Fireproof. Smart. I'd like to see more drivers wear it.
Very stylish as well.
First win of the season for Brian. 4th top 5 finish in 17 races in this 2000 NASCAR Busch Series season. There she is. All right, let's go to Mike.
First 10th, then 5th, then 4th. Victory lane last year. Brian Wall, you've done it again. What a job.
Man, I love this place. What a day. We had the transmission started vibrating real bad on that last restart, and I didn't think we'd make it 3 laps. It vibrated the shifter ball right off of it, and that was sealed on there. So it was shaking pretty bad. My hand's a little bit sore, but it's worth it, man. It's great to be back here. I love Lime Rock. Burnham Boilers is here, and what a crew. I can't say enough, and whew, the crew was awesome, and I got to dedicate this one to my new wife. Putting up with all this stuff all year. It's been a long year, but finally paid dividends today.
Getting into the pits early and getting out. Again, a winning strategy.
It always is. I thought we were, he waited a couple more laps than I thought. I got nervous, and good call by Chris Raymond, my crew chief, and just beat that yellow flag. And the only one, Dale and Brad were good all day, and that was just a great run. I was just glad to have some space between me and Dale because he could get a heck of a restart.
Congratulations. Go celebrate. Brian Wall, for the second year in a row, wins the pole and wins the New England Dodge Dealers 200, sponsored by Fertile Boiler.
Dale Quarterly, well-deserved second place finish today. Let's go back to Mike.
Dale Quarterly, a lot of engine work today. A couple of crossed fingers in your pit, but it all paid off. Great run.
It sure did. The crew did a good job putting the motor in. Amazingly, we didn't have an oil leak. We changed, a ton of oil lines when we did the motor. The thing ran great all day. We just didn't quite have enough of, Brian Wall. The Land O'Lakes car went, as fast as it was going to go. I could not make it go any faster.
But you two road race experts had a great battle going for a while.
We certainly did. I was really good on the first couple of laps. It's just the long runs were killing me. I think I had a shot going away, but either way, I couldn't run him down. He definitely won this race on his own.
Well, congratulations. Great run.
Thank you.
And Mike Olson got the final spot on the podium.
Mike Olson finishes third today, and boy, a great run.
Yeah, it's a real good run for us. We were second here last year. Would have liked to have improved on that, but we'll take third. I ran as hard as I could run there at the end, and just to keep him in sight. So I'm happy for it, and happy for Little Trees and Car Freshener, and hopefully do more better next year, I guess.
Well, you made that early pit stop, and it looked like it might have been too early, but it turned out to be a great strategy.
Yeah, we were a little nervous on that. We weren't sure. We were banking on some more cautions, and it turned out there was a lot of cautions that worked to our favor. So good strategy by the guys in the pits. They did a good job, and they've done a good job all year, and hopefully we stayed in the top 5 in points.
Congratulations. Great run.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, indeed, you did stay in the top 5 in points, Mike Olson. 5th behind the defending series champion and now 2-time champ Brad Leighton. As you look at the top of the championship standings, let's hear from Dale Shaw, who took 2nd in points on the final day of racing.
Dale Shaw congratulating Brian Wall. Long, hard day at the office for you, but you got what you came here for. That's 2nd in points.
Yeah, we really had to work hard for it. When we spun out, I hit the kill switch on the steering wheel and couldn't figure out why it wouldn't restart, and let everybody go by and had to work hard to get back. But, I built Brian Wall and Dale Quarterly's cars, so it was a pretty good day for me, all in all, business-wise and race-wise.
So who had a better day, Dale Shaw, the driver, or Dale, the car builder?
The car builder, definitely.
Well, that's okay. That's the one that pays the bills.
Nothing beats a win.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, the car builder's got some work to do after this one. It was kind of a rugged one today here on the road course at Lime Rock.
As we suspected it would be from the start, we always expect to see a lot of action when we come to Lime Rock, and these guys today definitely didn't disappoint.
Brian Wall was the dominant driver, led 47 of the 82 laps to score his first win of the 2000 NASCAR Busch North Series season in the year's final race. For Mike Joy and Michael Waltrip, this is Alan Bestwick. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the NASCAR Busch North Series here on Speed Vision. We'll see you again next time.